Chapter 8 Consciousness. Consciousness is that form of awareness that this particle universe uses to recognize itself as itself. Only the particle universe itself and the numerous bubbles within this particle universe are conscious. All of those expressions within the particle universe only use the universe's consciousness as a tool for their experience in particle reality. The Creator Core Self does not use consciousness. They are not limited to this universe, but are only in this universe to explore the dimensions of themselves. The Creator Core Selves function from awareness. They expand their awareness through their creations and their creations' experiences in physicality. Through consciousness, the universe continually expands its awareness by being conscious of all activities within itself, down to the smallest something. Consciousness organizes data in more different ways than you could imagine. Consciousness is itself organized into different kinds or groupings of consciousness. It is much like the oceans. If you consider the oceans as consciousness, the ocean water provides the ocean life with an environment that they can use and explore and express their beingness in whatever way they choose, but they are not the water. You believe you are all conscious beings, and you are proud of it. It is through such a belief that you feel yourself to be in control. It is your belief that you are a conscious being that limits you in ways you could not even imagine. As long as your belief that you are conscious prevails, you are unable to use the natural assets that are available to you when you use your innate natural awareness. Your awareness far outstretches your belief that you are conscious. Awareness can be focused. It is your recognition of your innate awareness that allows the freedom of expression and choice of possibilities and probabilities that brings forth change. Mass consciousness. We have often spoken of mass consciousness. We will try and explain how this characteristic functions, its impact on humanity, and its evolution. We have said that every smallest particle in this universe contains consciousness. You in the physical work with the consciousness of the body and all its component parts, psyche, ego, emotion, and beliefs. But you are not conscious. This is only another one of your tools for use in exploring physicality. You think of yourself as being conscious. As we have said, you are not conscious. You are aware, just as we in Datre are aware. Awareness is a universal principle for all in the universal family. It is awareness that maintains our identity as being who and what we are. We are aware of us as being us. As the little stick figures in the plays continued, you began to develop a sort of aura atmosphere around your humanity into which your thoughts and speech were accumulating. This aura is what we are calling mass consciousness. That is the environment that holds what you call humanity's history. It contains the energy patterns of everything that has happened on this planet since the beginning. There is an effect of consciousness that results in a concentration of that quality of consciousness that we have referred to as mass consciousness, which surrounds your planet much like an aura surrounds your body. This aura of consciousness holds your thoughts and speech and dynamic actions and organizes them into an overall pattern of your humanity. Consciousness has its own intelligence. Mass consciousness absorbs what you would call the radiations of your individual and collective actions, emotions, and thoughts. This resulting aura permeates your whole planetary environment. When we refer to mass consciousness, we are referring to this accumulation of consciousness that has expressed itself through actions in your physicality. It is the result of human experiences as expressed through your plays. This is all of humanity's history from the very beginnings. It is the source of that which is called the Akashic Records. When a sensitive person reads these, what you call Akashic Records, they are tapping into this aura of mass consciousness and reading the history patterns of your humanity. Whenever you do any form of exploring of your history, you are just sorting through your humanity's aura of collected activities you call past. Consciousness is predisposed to putting stuff together. Consciousness takes all of this radiation of humanity and arranges it into a pattern of what you call history and sorts it out and puts it together with potential direction. The patterning that mass consciousness forms from these radiations presents a holographic image of what direction your humanity is going up to the present moment. All expressions of physicality dream, from the smallest atom through all body forms. The dreamer uses reference that organization that consciousness has put together and uses that as an emphasis for a new direction. As an example, you wish to experience athletics in a physical construct. The dreamer you can easily find organized data regarding athletics, which in turn leads to more specific possibilities and probabilities in a certain area of sports and draws from that. The dreamer use, perceiving the stagnation exhibited in the holographic images of humanity's history in your planetary environment, are then able to go into the consciousness of the bubble and bring forth new possibilities and probabilities for your humanity to act out in their individual and collective plays. This is an overall plan for your humanity. Each country selects from mass consciousness those elements that can best achieve their goals in regard to their parts in the overall play. This gives an intelligent direction to the overall plan for your humanity's evolution. There is an overall plan for evolving your humanity. You as an individual can participate in whatever way you choose. The choice is always yours. If everybody was contributing to the plan, mass consciousness and your humanity would be drastically changed. The desired direction, at the present time, is to have your humanity functioning as a global community. The different countries playing out their different plays need organization in this direction. These countries' plays result in an overall global play. Humanity has continued to play the game of mimicry. The evolution has begun to stagnate. That is why a new millennium was set into motion. People who rely on mass consciousness for their guidelines perpetuate and add to the already existing patterns. Fear is a big factor, and the more people fear, the greater the buildup of that vibrational energy, which is then drawn from and used by that part of your humanity that functions off of mass consciousness. Mass consciousness holds all these things in place in the aura of your planet. That portion of humanity that we are referring to as the majority of your humanity that works from mass consciousness is a result of persons continually going into the dead zone and believing that they are throwing away all their live zone experiences because they felt it was bad, sinful, or whatever. The continual starting over in the live zone in the same family grouping perpetuates that which we have referred to as the stagnation exhibited by mass consciousness. As an example, at one time, royal families wanted to keep their power, so they kept marrying within their own families. They married cousins, etc. The bloodline kept getting more and more depleted, and you had more and more men who became hemophiliacs. This was carried through by the women, but affected only the men. There are those people who typically exhibit the innocence of children, and that is why they are so easily manipulated. They are passive instead of active. They often exhibit the facade of being bullies and taunts. They do this to hide their vulnerability. This also makes them natural followers, because they personally feel their lack of the necessary intelligence to go out on their own. That characteristic is exploited by those who want to control. When these people come back into the live zone, they do the same thing again because they believe they have given away all their physical experience. They are going to do it differently next time. They come in with almost a blank slate. They come back into the same family environment and do the same thing over and over again and are totally unaware of it. Everyone casts off aspects. And that dynamic is a major component in the increase and intensity of humanity that work from mass consciousness. Even if the aspect is short-lived, that impact is still felt. This is how your wars come about. Way back in your remote, non-history times, an individual became obsessed by the inhumanity of man/woman to man/woman and decided to right that perceived wrong. They then convinced those easily led individuals that war is the only solution to righting this wrong. To bring it closer in your time frame, one man, the Pope of that period, brought about the Crusades. The vast majority of the crusading knights were illiterate and only had an interest in fighting either for sport or purpose. The crusaders were not paid in money, but were given land grants in the countries where they fought. This established a justification for a war mentality in places where there was no war. Why go to war? In order to claim more land. This later became known as colonialism. The majority and greatest strength of the ideas regarding physicality are in the relationship of a power play. How much of the herd can I influence and get them to go in the direction I want them to go in? Will we experience Armageddon? Another dominant fear factor is that which you call Armageddon. The more the thought patterns of Armageddon are verbalized, the more these associated fear factors are strengthened. The herd becomes bigger and stronger. A belief that there has to be wars. A belief that there has to be plagues. A belief that there has to be famine. Now you have all of these in action. To give you some insight as to how these wars continue to be perpetuated. The men on your planet have ruled because they are more readily formed into groups. They continue to maintain their freedom. Women have had to stay with the nurturing of the families of children. This was a role imposed on them. She could only survive in relation to a man who could provide food and shelter. Women, by their very nature, are more independent because they had to be. Who is the last to be allowed the freedom of education? Women! This has been constantly perpetuated over eons of time in all countries. In the beginning, it was an advantage to work in groups for survival. Today, the same thinking continues in the form of clans, tribes, and sections. This is no longer necessary except for the purpose of control. You have also changed your weather into chaotic patterns. You ask, what do we do with the weather? Your mass consciousness in the different areas of your countries holds your emotional energy patterns that affect your weather also. You will ask, how come the dreamer you don't change the situation? The dreamer you only absorbs your experiences, however, they don't have belief systems. They view everything only as different experiences. It picks up the total of your experiences without the limitation of your beliefs. You are the only one that can change you and the play. If you don't pay attention to your play and the important part your play has in the evolution of humanity, how can anything be changed? There is no purpose except the evolution of you, which is in the framework of forever. You want to be helpers and healers. Look at the grand opportunities for you. Play out your play. All of these examples of your herd-type groups are being brought forth on a grand scale to make you look at what you are perpetuating. The mass consciousness will stay the same without a driving force that will change it. But in this particular time frame you have many projects and plays to work with to make those kinds of changes in this new millennium. When you give into mass consciousness and become part of the herd mentality, that is when those who glory in power take over, regardless of whether they are wanted by the people or not. It is very easy to lead when everyone feels inadequate and only follows. Why all the tattoos, rings, and body piercing in all parts of the bodies? It is a display that says, see, I belong. I am part of a group. A set mentality. A herd mentality is, do everything for the good of the group, not the individual. The democracies of the world can never be anything other than a democracy because the herd rule is used. Democracy says, the majority rules. That ensures little or no influence on the individual. This is just the opposite of a republic. All your countries, all your groups, all your organizations run according to the herd rule. This even applies to matriarchal and patriarchal family groups. Other examples are nationalism, my nation, right or wrong. Patriotism, my flag. Political parties, everything for the good of the party. Unions, they tell you to strike and sacrifice so your children can have a better life. The old guilds were where the workers in a department got together and talked with management. There you have a republic in action. Sports team play. The psychic community with their New Age communities separated into hundreds of different groups. Religions of all kinds, and there are hundreds of different kinds there also. Astrology, grouping everything and everyone into 12 different groups. What are you hearing? The beauty of music? The beauty of nature? Or the sounds of mass consciousness? How can the predominant patterns of mass consciousness be changed? You have spoken of Armageddon and the end times. The end was not 2000. The end isn't Armageddon. This is a new beginning. Doing away with old think patterns and bringing in new thoughts. Drop these beliefs about Armageddon. Focus on your own play. Change your focus. We have shown several different projects the peoples on your planet are working on in this new millennium. From how we perceive your planetary existence at the present time, it appears that technology can be a dominant factor. It introduces an important element that provides a means of interaction that has only recently become available. That element is the web or the internet. Through the interaction of individuals between different countries, a type of respect is developed. Children are making friends with others in different countries. When they grow up, are they going to be willing to go to war against their friends?